Yeah, this is Point Black. Now we're coming in with another one. This is PBNN, Point Black National News, the late and the great edition, with the facts, crackbacks, the boom bit to the lying ass lips. Coming with the heat from the street and the flow from the barrio. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the late and the great edition and the ghetto edition as well. So this is PBNN, Point Black, National News and Views and Comments. You know what I'm saying? Now today we see where they're not even seem to be letting up on what took place and what's going on in Kiev and in Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? The home of Satan. You know what I'm saying? Probably so. You know what I'm saying? I get the modern day Turkey. They said. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? You can see where Madame Blavatsky and them got it from. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you see a lot of people out here also doing a lot of devil worshiping lately. I noticed actors, singers, rappers, you name it. We got a Toyota. Now at the same time, you know what I'm saying, we see where, you know what I'm saying, they're not letting up all this Russia Ukraine war shit. You know what I'm saying? And right, you know, we see where the new so-called guy that's supposed to be taking over NATO, he has the same agenda. You know what I'm saying? Where he wants to go in and still bomb and keep on the fighting going in with Zelensky all the way through, and to where now they want to even use U.S. weapons to bomb across the border into Russia and shit like that. So you see where Joe Biden and the creepy ass fam and a whole bunch of them have concocted this NATO shit. They've been planning this NATO shit for years. This is not nothing new. You know what I'm saying? You could go back to even see where Trump was even talking about how much money they were pumping into NATO rather than taking care of the poor people and the farmers and so on and so on. You know what I'm saying? And that was when he was a real estate mogul. You know what I'm saying? That was way back when. You know what I'm saying? So when we really look at what they're doing and the Biden family and the rest of these Zionists or whoever else is trying to bring their so-called Bible to life, you know what I'm saying? And the wickedness thereof that they possess, you know what I'm saying? This is a part of that whole same holy plan that they have. You know what I'm saying? And they've been having this for years. This is why NATO was able to even be formed and exist. Same thing we saw with Gaddafi and all these different Muslim nations in constant war with these people. And our country always seems to be involved. You know what I'm saying? Now, when we see his son went over there and made all these deals and all these foreign deals and all these different things that he was doing over there in Ukraine, you know what I'm saying? And then Russia talking about an energy deal, and now you sparked off the war and made Ukraine talk about joining NATO, knowing that when as even if he was talking about it for a minute, you know what I'm saying? Just the fact of him continuously doing that, knowing full well that, you know what I'm saying, Biden with, you know, Putin knew that, you know what I'm saying, or tried to stop the fact of Biden even getting into office because he already knew what was being set up as a part of Zelensky and Ukraine joining NATO. And if Biden had got in, he figured that in more ways than one that Biden would certify the fact that Zelensky can join NATO. And then they'll be able to put all their weaponry and everything right into Russia. So on top of having Zelensky right in the pocket, which is the war that's going on now that he sparked up with his son doing foreign deals, and now we have the fact that, you know, look at what they caused, and now look at what we're into, to where they're not stopping, and he's continued to supply them with weapons, you know what I'm saying, and pushing Russia, a nuclear nation, into a war with the United States. And then when you see the United States, you're talking about all the common people. Same thing we saw in Hiroshima and Nagasaki when they dropped the bombs. All those people in there was not a part of that. They was not a part of everything to do with what was going on in our war. A lot of them were just regular civilians living every day doing what they're supposed to do and keep it moving and so on and so on. But by them being involved in a war in itself with Germany, siding with Germany, you know what I'm saying, and then America did what they did, they killed millions, hundreds of thousands of people that day. You know what I'm saying? Mass murder. You know what I'm saying? In all ways. We're seeing the same scenario when it comes to Russia in Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? Ukraine is the spark of the match in which Biden is using in order to spark that fire in order to be able to keep this Russian war thing going. But we're facing nuclear war in which the people must come to some kind of understanding where there must be a back down of this war and no executive order signed in order to keep it going long after Joe Biden may be removed from his creepy spot in the White House. You know what I'm saying? With his pedophilia broke back ass. You know what I'm saying? But we got to get him out of there because he's not really helping the war in Ukraine and Russia, and that's a war that we really don't need because we really don't need. It's not that we're punks to anybody. It's just the fact that we don't need no nuclear war because who's gonna win in a nuclear war? Show in the common people like you and I. That's for sure. You know what I'm saying? And what's going to really shield you from nuclear war when it breaks out? You think they're going to give us a warning and send us all in some nice, safe nuclear, safe nuclear bunkers and shit like that and this and that? No, they're not. They're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? So we have to start looking at even Ukraine more than just as much as we look at what's going on in the Gaza Strip, because all of this is taking place in the same spot. Now, in the revelations of their Bible, they also claim that the last war is going to take place in Africa, you know what I'm saying, in that area. You know what I'm saying? Because that is Africa or Egypt, Kemet, or whatever they want to call, what it is. You know what I'm saying? In more ways than one. It have many names, you know what I'm saying? But also, that's where they're claiming the last war is going to be, is in that area. You see what I'm saying? So we have to start looking at this from a brighter perspective because we don't need these wars going on. And Joe Biden and his family and the rest of these demon Democrats and all of these Zionists or whoever else is all involved with the deep state have caused and jumped up this war to carry into it. They have trumped up this war using Ukraine and Zelensky in Russia's backyard. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't make any sense. So we know who sparked this war. The NATO nations were formulated in order to do exactly what they're doing now. You know what I'm saying? And now you have this other idiot. He's supposed to be taking over. And he's doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Sending drone attacks and this and that and the third and the fourth and the fifth. You know what I'm saying? Zelensky is an idiot, a jackass, and definitely don't know what he's doing. But he do know how to spark the war because we know even up in that area how much they have been practicing this wickedness that they have been doing. You know what I'm saying? So we know for well that Zelensky's in bed with the deep state and is a deep state in itself and probably satanic in itself because Madame Blavatsky and Madame Blavatsky actually came, I think, from Ukraine, and she came into the world and brought a lot of the stuff you see that's going on right now inside Hollywood. You know, saying Disney World, and even with the rappers, singers, Rihanna, Jay Z, and Beyonce, and all these different rappers. Everybody's going satanic as we see because, and I guess they're going to move to modern day Turkey, where Satan, is supposed to be his home and resting place. See, but at the same time, I and I Father, and I and I Mother, the glorious warrior herself, is coming forward. And every time they try, and the more they try, the closer they get, they're going to feel the pressure of what it is they're truly going to be facing. You know what I'm saying? Because they think that they're going to walk away or cause this great catastrophe war in their fake ass Bible that they have talking about revelations and all these different things in these books. You know what I'm saying? But to me, it really doesn't make any sense at all in no shape or form that you would jump up a nuclear war on and then say that the United States, you see how they put us into this war, but they they at the same time put us into this war and we don't agree with it. Now, how many people are going to sit here and say that you agree with the war in Ukraine or Zelensky, you know what I'm saying, doing what he doing along with the Biden and Creepy and all the rest of these native motherfucking criminal organizations chumping up a war against 34 nations against Russia? That doesn't make any sense at all. You know what I'm saying? And there's no justification in that matter of itself. You know what I'm saying? So we know for well that a lot of stuff that they are doing is definitely their business. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? I was looking at something here on this right here. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. Yeah, like right here, even here when you say here, um, I'm sorry about that, but it's saying here, um, in chapter, I guess it's 17, it says, and then one of the seventh, notice the number seven, angels who had the seventh bowl came and talked with me, saying to me, come, I will show you a judgment of the greater harlot who sits on many waters, with, you know what I'm saying, with whom the kings of the earth committed who committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth were made drunk with wine of her and fornication. So he cried. So he carried. No, I'm sorry. So he carried me away in the spirit. In the spirit, what's the difference between a spirit and a ghost? Into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on the scarlet beast, which was full of names of blasphemy, having the seven head of 10 horns. You see what I'm saying? This book is really, to me, all about Freemasonry. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at the last days of many of what they're saying, much of what they're talking about has to deal with over in Africa, in Russia, and in that area that we call the West Bank, and all the way up the hill, and all the way in Europe and everywhere, which is still Africa, still Kemet, still, you know what I'm saying, the same thing. But they wanted to believe it's something else. But they have, you know what I'm saying, much as what we see going on, you know what I'm saying, that even if it's written in this book, it is still something that they have had to do to make it happen. It didn't just happen on it's not happening on its own. You know what I'm saying? So this is why they jump in and have been building the NATO nations, all these nations to come down on Russia, you know what I'm saying? Because that's written in their book that they have always, you know, saying that it's a true book when it's not. This is something they wrote in the book. See, the book is like, you know, when it said genie in a lamp, the book is a book of mind control. We know that. You know what I'm saying? But it's a book um, of their plans, I should say, based on what they, you know what I'm saying, you know, the way they see it, and so on and so on. This is their book. So when you look at the book and you're reading the book and you're looking for everything in the book, you're not seeing everything outside of the book, really, unless it comes to the manifestation of what we see going on today. You know what I'm saying? But in the book is where you're always going to be running to, because they wrote that book. This is why they want you to always have a Bible around in your house and shit like that, because they figure that they got you when you have a Bible around that you is following and believe in that book. You see what I'm saying? Which is a, I would say, a old fashioned old fashioned, I think, to me, you know what I'm saying, Matrix. You know what I'm saying? This is why the movie Matrix even show you how they was even directly going into people's brains and messing with the, all types of shit. You know what I'm saying? They're doing now, messing with the food, messing with the green, messing with everything they could possibly think to be able to affect our minds and so forth on. But when you look for God, the only place you see God, you don't see your God, because I don't follow your God, is in your book. You know what I'm saying? And where they got that, most of what they have in that book came from their co-opting Egypt's scrolls and Egypt's what they saw in Egypt as the way we practice certain things. You know what I'm saying? So and they co-opt all that and took all those books and scrolls and used those books and scrolls in order to create this book. You know what I'm saying? Figuring that spell from that type of mentality, saying they could control the world. And that's why that book was really written, saying, in order to be able to control the world. You know what I'm saying? And then at the same time, the way they write the book is giving them in this book in the minds of the people who believe and follow and all a part of that. You know what I'm saying? In their minds, this will give them, or to the world itself, this will give them, the book will, they wrote things in a book that would give them the justification to do the things you think they're, the justification, the things they're doing on earth. But when you look at the book and what the book's saying about this or saying about that and this and that, you realize it's nothing but pure war all the time. You know what I'm saying? In many, many, many ways. You know what I'm saying? The war and the confusion and the chaos, you know what I'm saying? Even ending the book in Revelations. And then when you look at the book of Revelations, that's what you see again, the same thing, war. You know what I'm saying? So we know for well that the book is written in the way of a metrical form in order to get your mind into believing that every time you want to talk about God, your God, or whoever God you follow, you always run to this book. You see what I'm saying? Because this is a book to me of exactly what they want to do. In many ways, they write it into this book. You know what I'm saying? Even crucifixion, blood sacrifice, and many other things, pedophilia, and many other things they write into their books, and they carry these things out because this is the plague of the planet. You see what I'm saying? So they know for well what it is they have created and what it is they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because they wrote a book of plans in order to show you, in order to control your mind first of all, and have you partiality. So when you look at the book and you see that partiality mentality you have every time something catastrophic happens, what's the first thing most people do? They start praying and they start talking about God and all kinds of stuff like that, knowing full well that there is no sanctuary in that itself other than in your mentality. Because if God was still this and so that, then why are people in the Gaza Strip being murdered at 30, 40, 50,000 people, you know what I'm saying, and more, and still going, you know what I'm saying, right in front of our face? Why is slavery still going on in certain places in Africa? Why is they over there, you know what I'm saying, constantly talking about they want 5, 10 Arab nations to fall and cause a big trickery over here, talking about 9/11 and all this different shit, and then blame it on the Muslims, and then you go in there, you try to destroy them, and it's a back and forth bullshit because you guys wrote these books. You know what I'm saying? Even when you look at many other books, it's the same thing. So when you look at the fact that they continue in this war against Russia, you know what I'm saying, it's good lining up with the garbage that they probably put in the book because they want you to believe that they was always telling you the truth about these biblical books and Bibles and all these different things, when it was no more than a trickery game and a lie. You know what I'm saying? All the way down to the pipe. You know what I'm saying? Not according and not accurate in any shape or form. You know what I'm saying? So we have to get our minds out of this book, and we also got to stop this war in Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? And with Ukraine and Russia, because this is a dangerous ground that we're walking on that we don't need to be going down. You know what I'm saying? In no shape or form. You know what I mean? And then and they don't want to show that that Ukraine is backing up. And why is it that you're backing an evil country well, I wouldn't say evil country, but because I don't know everybody in the country, but an evil leader like Zelensky, when you know full well of the satanic list. This is why they believe, all these rebels believe in it, that this is actually something that is going to happen, is going to be real, and they want to be right there with him and all of this and that. Well, like I said, they're planning to move to modern day Turkey. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, they full of shit. You know what I'm saying? In all ways, because you're not going to get no justification out of none of that, but you will see your demise in it itself. So we need to start waking up and start these wars and make these wars come to a ceasefire period on both sides. And both sides have to agree on a definite ceasefire. But I notice Zelensky is not giving up and not giving a ceasefire, and he knows full well that Russia could destroy him in no shape or form. So he's the match in the middle to spark 34 nations and a nuclear war. This was all trumped up by the Biden family in itself. You know, see, as the deep state, Luciferian, blood sucking son of a bitch. Same thing we have with Andy Fofati, the killing, murderous, genocidal weasel that needs to be removed from this planet and go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? He's a part of the same plan as well. You know what I'm saying? So they have been doing a whole whack of garbage in our government that needs to be cleaned out. We must have this war with Ukraine and dismantle uh, 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 um, NATO by all means. You know what I'm saying? Talk about NATO, nation alliance to control the planet Earth. You know what I'm saying? They don't come with their bullshit, but we need to get those people up out of our country and clean up our country as far as war and these different things that are going on. Many of this needs to come to a cease and a cycle, you know what I'm saying, rather than constantly running, just like the same thing when you had the riots of the Capitol. Much of that stuff you saw that was going on with Black Lives Matter and all these different people, you notice how everything was in a rush. It was always rushing, moving forward, rushing, rushing. Even when it came right down to Nancy Pelosi choosing the shitty committee, she was right there ready. You saw on TV or filming her rushing to get the committee going. Then you got the committee going, and it's rushing down the road with witnesses. Then it's rushing down the road with this, and then they rush right into the fact of saying they're going to charge them with this and charge Trump with that. You see how it's beginning to go? It seems like the same plans they wrote in their shitty book. So this is Point Blank says, stay right, stay tight. We coming with another flight in a minute. We gonna get it right.